also going on in Virginia. So besides all those things I just said, also they started arresting some people. And do you know why they started arresting some people? Check it out. This is the next phase of this video. This video is going to be one of my better videos. There's a lot, and I just want to keep it going. I can't stop. Can't stop, won't stop. All right. Wait, did P. Diddy say that? I take that back. What is he now? P. Dwitty? Dimwitty? Puffy? Like, literally, like, I can't believe I can't stop, won't stop. I think that's something he says. Oh, I'm sorry. That's the type of stuff that's funny to me, you know? All right, guys. So, boom. Oh, maybe the Delta has to do. $22.08. I don't know. I mean, in military time, that's 14.28. 14.28. I figured it out. Oh, did I say 28? No, 14.08. 14.08. Let me check something real quick. Ah, man. 14.08, I believe, was the time of the other one. So that would actually make sense. 14.08. Because remember I said 14 and then, or was it 38? I'm going to have to check all this after. I remember seeing 24 and something like 48, but then I also remember seeing 24 and something like that. I mean, you take 12, and so it would be 14.08. It would be military time. I'll look into that. I don't think it was 14.08 though. I don't know. I know I'm close behind. I already cracked a couple things right away. Okay, so here's some of the stuff that I was looking into, guys. This is some stuff that, you know, had that not just popped up, I would be looking at anyways. Oh, don't tell me that this guy is coming out with some crap now. We do not want to see this. All right. You guys just saw who just has a video coming out. If Q could just get that guy in check, you know? I want to see him held to justice. Everything he's been doing to the populace, taking their money. Meanwhile, I don't make money from YouTube, nothing. Now, you know, I don't need it. I'm happy to, but, you know, sometimes to put this much time and effort into it, you know, it does help to get donations. So, again, you know, if I'm doing crappy videos, don't donate. If I'm doing really good videos, I hope you at least consider. Now on to the next part of this video, which is very interesting. Oh, there's that. You know what? FBI arrests suspected neo-Nazis ahead of gun rally. Suspected neo-Nazis. Again, broad terms. Is this legit? I don't know. Let's see. This is one of the guys. Patrick Matthews was reportedly arrested after months on the run. Well, let's see how much truth comes out of this stuff. Because it just seems a little bit convenient. I think, this is my opinion, I think they saw that Virginia got their shush together and that between the NRA and the grassroots, that they were actually going to have a peaceful, yet loud and proud and within the law protest of what was being done or being threatened to be done to their rights to bear arms and basically, I think they anticipated them to act a certain way. So what do? They create a situation where people assume to act a certain way. But let's give the writers of this a little benefit of the doubt. I mean, this is BBC and CNN. It's like the usual suspects, so we really shouldn't give them the benefit of the doubt. But let's see what they have to say. And I actually found some extra information on it that I'm going to be bringing for you. So the FBI has arrested 3 suspected members of again, a very broad term that they use, neo-Nazi hate group, who planned to travel to a pro-gun rally in Virginia on Monday. One was a Canadian Army reservist who was fired in August over ties to hate groups and has been suspected missing since, Canadian police told the BBC. So he hasn't been on the run from the law. He's just been suspected missing. There's a difference. The way that I read that at the beginning, when I first said Patrick Matthews was reportedly arrested after months on the run. Do you see how they write that? It makes it sound like they finally arrested this guy after he avoided the law, who had warrants and were trying to arrest him for months. When in reality, he was a missing person. No one has seen him for a while. I wonder where he was when no one was seeing him that whole time. Well, he wasn't on the run from the law. It's just he was a missing person. I wonder if, I don't know, maybe someone got to him and over time made some threats and put him in a certain situation with the technology we have today. Voice to skull, the frequencies, the hypnosis. I mean, we can go on and on and on. Or let's just talk some brutal, old-fashioned mafia type, threaten the family. Anyone can be had. So now now a little bit of truth is coming out. They make it sound like he's running from the law. He was really just a missing person. Just like if you went missing for a month, you'd be a missing person. And then when you're found, little to your dismay, you'd look and it would say, he was arrested after, and then they make it look like you've been running from the law the whole time, when really you've been a victim. Who knows? This is all opinion. Not, but some of it is based in fact, because we're going off of their own report. Olivia, I'm almost done. We're going to go to the park. We're going to do all kinds of stuff. This is a very important show. Okay. So, and again, usual suspects. Speaking of usual suspects, Virginia Governor Ralph Northam, and when I say usual suspects, okay, yeah, he just, threatened the people with, just a little bit of a National Guard to take their guns away. Yeah, no big deal, right, guys? No. What about, remember this doozy from last year? Remember this one? This is the same Rath Norton, who, by the way, let's get some images of him. You're telling me this one? Oh, I thought it would pop right up. No, this guy? Not him. And the lieutenant governor was in a sex scandal? And then the third in charge, who happened to be a black man, he was also, no, the second in charge, it was black man, he was in a sex scandal. And then the third in charge, a Republican, he also had blackface. So, as far as Virginia government goes, their number 1, number 2, and number 3 are all either doing blackface or sexual charges. Okay, so that guy, okay. Well, yeah, usual suspect is right. Now what about this other thing? Don't tell me that what? He wants to do what? Hold on. Throwing the sarcasm on pretty thick. What does he want to do? Hold on, let me hear this. I heard. I just want to remind people who we're dealing with.
No exception. There was a very contentious committee hearing yesterday when Fairfax County Delegate Kathy Tran made her case for lifting restrictions on third trimester abortions as well as other restrictions now in place. And she was pressed by a Republican delegate about whether her bill would permit an abortion even as a woman is essentially dilating, ready to give birth. And she answered that it would permit an abortion at that stage of labor. Do you support her measure and explain her answer?
And the day after this, that's when his blackface came out. So if you don't think it's true that they have blackmail, you know, like Epstein style, the way you get blackmailing people, if you don't think it's true that they have blackmail of different degrees, like this one's like, hey, you messed up. Why did you actually tell what our plans were? All right, we're releasing the blackface stuff. We're going to hurt you politically. If it was something really, if he actually like went against them, oh, they would drop like the having sex with children videotape from Epstein Island. You know what I mean? Like that's how they operate in extortion and stuff like that. But because he was still trying to get their agenda done, but really did a bad job of it. And by the way, whoever this is interviewing him is just as in on it. How do you not have a follow-up question when a man answers like this?
Sir. Yeah, and I wasn't there, Julie, and I certainly can't speak for Delegate Tran, but I would tell you, first thing I would say is this is why decisions such as should be made by providers, physicians, and the mothers and fathers that are involved. There are, when we talk about third trimester abortions, these are done with the consent of obviously the mother, with the consent of the physicians, more than one physician, by the way. And it's done in cases where there may be severe deformities, there may be a fetus that's non-viable. So in this particular example, if a mother is in labor, I can tell you exactly what would happen. The infant would be delivered. The infant would be kept comfortable. The infant would be resuscitated if that's what the mother and the family desired. And then a discussion would ensue between the physicians and the mother. So I think this was really blown out of proportion. But again, we want the government not to be involved in these types of decisions. We want the decision to be made by the mothers and their providers. And this is why, Julie, that legislators, most of whom are men, by the way, shouldn't be telling a woman what she should and shouldn't be doing with her body.
And do you think multiple physicians should have to weigh in as is currently required? She's trying to lift that requirement.
Well, I think it's always good to get a second opinion and for at least two providers to be involved in that decision, because these decisions shouldn't be taken lightly. And so, I would certainly support more than one provider.
All right, let's go back to the phones now for the governor. We're going to talk now with Mike, who's calling in.
Did you guys see what she let him get away with right there? I know that's really disgusting, but Democratic VA governor openly advocates infanticide. Infanticide, which basically is not just abortion. This is after they're born, killing them. And it's all about gaining that beachfront, for lack of a better term, of legalese. And once you get that legalese of even after born, them not being considered a person, that creates a whole black market for what you can do with their bodies, a lot of things you can do medically. It really is like it opens Pandora's box of bad. And it's great that this wasn't allowed to happen, but it almost happened, and it did go through in New York, by the way. So it wasn't a complete victory. It's actually really upsetting to think about, obviously. But yeah, that guy, first of all. All right. And so let me show you guys. Wait, I was just, oh yeah, remember this? Remember, I promised you guys I'd show you this. Antifa flags in comparison to Nazis flags. Let's take a look. Oh, ain't that something, huh? Look at that. Antifascistische Aktion. You see that? Oh, here's a perfect. Antifascistische Aktion. Anti-fascist action. Oh, I'm sorry. It's not to fascist flag. It's to the Communist Party in 1932. So this is like pre-World War II, before like communism was this horrible thing. So when they say like, oh, we're anti, no, they're commies. All right. Like, do you think that they didn't know what the commie flag looked like? I mean, there it is, right there for you. You know, there it is. I mean, I don't know how you deny that one. Corey's gonna be like, who is this guy? Red Pill. Anyways, yeah, so there you go. 1933 paramilitary wing of the Communist Party. Oh, that's why I thought that of Germany. So the communists in Germany, that was their flag. Antifascistische Aktion. And then here we are today, 2017 paramilitary wing of the Democratic Party of America, anti-fascist action. All right, enough. Is that enough scene for you guys? I mean, I know I already have this saved, but just in case, I'm going to save it again. Okay, so, I mean, this is just, like, ridiculous. You know, so that just exposes Antifa for what they are. They're clowns. And, you know, I seen them walking around here in a city called Worcester. And they didn't make it very far, but the police did protect them. Because at the time, people were very confused by Antifa. I wonder how protective the police would be of them now. Although that is their job. I mean, they would have to. So anyway, as we read about here, we're going to continue reading. So this is why I went off on that whole thing, because I was talking about Virginia Governor Ralph Northam has declared a state of emergency in the city of Richmond ahead of the rally. Well, it seemed to be a state of emergency, meaning, now you the whole Walmart martial law. If you take it backwards, you know what I mean? It's like Walmart and put it backwards, you get martial law. Yeah, there's that. But what I was more concerned about was basically that the National Guard would come in, and that would only make people feel like they had to defend themselves. And even if they didn't fire, just having their weapons would have caused provocations. Yet only one man was arrested. Everyone thought this big buildup. I mean, I listened to this one YouTuber who's you would have thought the world was ending on Monday. It was one arrest. And I bet you the arrest was ridiculous, because they were trying to get their arrest numbers up. If they have any affiliation with the Democrats. But it was a peaceful, well-organized thing. But that's why they realized that was going to be the case, so they had to get ahead of the story, and all of a sudden, it's a state of emergency, and all this stuff. And then, not only that, but we're going to start arresting people and make arrests. So now, who knows? Maybe these people really did need to be arrested, but you can't blame me for questioning this thoroughly, especially when you see all I see, all that you're about to see, as well as just the continuous lies from one side and, the continuous basic honesty from a different side. So let's take a look. He said law enforcement believed there was a threat of violence. There was one arrest in a totally peaceful thing. But this is why he can get away with saying it. Governor Northam on Thursday announced a ban on guns in the state's capital area. So not only are they causing all this trouble, and then announcing a state of emergency, and then announcing the National Guard, but now he's going to say, oh, and you can't bring your guns, all you people who love your guns. I mean, they were antagonizing every step of the way. And I want to commend everyone in Virginia that was standing up for the Second Amendment and did not fall for their tactics. We are too smart to fall into their tactics. One arrest. I'd like to know what that arrest was for. So, ban the guns in the Capitol area in Richmond from Friday until Tuesday. So, you know, even today, you can't even, just a regular day, it's all over. You can't even have your weapon, even if you're totally legit, you can't have it on you. Even today. Citing threats of violence made ahead of the rally. What, did they decide to not go through with them? Or was it the people you arrested these 3 guys and that prevented everything? And then because there was not enough arrests, you go and you make 3 more arrests. Well, if they were going to do something, they would have done something. That's why it just stinks. The order also covers other weapons such as knives and sticks. Oh, so you can't even bring knives or sticks. So let's say you're thinking, well, just to protect myself, I'm going to have a little pocket knife. You know, that's probably what happened. Someone probably had a pocket knife. They just thought they meant no guns. They probably had a little pocket knife and got arrested for it. I bet you that's what the arrest is. Something stupid like that. Or sticks. So, you know, maybe he was, picked up a twig or something. You know, it's just very vague. I don't like it. You know, if you're talking like batons, like police batons, okay. The ones that, like, you whip out and you can really do something. You could, bust a knee with it. I mean, that's what was in Charlottesville. So, yeah, that's probably what they mean. But it's too broad. So, anyways, he said some of the violent rhetoric seen online was reminiscent, except Charlottesville was a shit show, and this was very peaceful. But let's just, mind you, this was written days and days and days ago. They were trying, when you read this as if, well, not as if, it's actually the case. This is prior to the rally, in fact, days prior to the rally. So read it as somebody entering in. You're thinking, I mean, no wonder that certain YouTuber, you know what I'm doing with my hand? Yeah, that one. Was acting like the world's going to end that day. Okay? He was acting like the world's going to end that day. And ended up being 1 arrest. And it was probably for something stupid like forgetting to leave his pocket knife at home. I mean, but I'll find out the exact reason for it. I bet you it's even something more ridiculous. But just while I'm reading this, keep in mind, this is the mindset they were putting into people. Trying to cause people to make a mistake so they can make it into this huge thing. Just another distraction. He said some of the... All right. So it was reminiscent of that scene before the deadly Charlottesville rally in 2017, at which a 32-year-old counter-protester, so she wasn't protesting herself, she's a counter-protester. So if I don't understand. So in this situation, why don't you call these people counter-protesters? People are out there protesting against the Second Amendment, and they are counter-protesting for the Second Amendment. But I guess it only applies when it's, supports the narrative. All right, so he said some of the violent rhetoric seen was reminiscent, of course, of Charlottesville rally in 2017, at which a 32-year-old counter-protester, not a protester, a counter-protester, and as for her as a person, I feel bad. No one should have lost their life that day. Heather Heyer was killed by white nationalist James Fields. And you know what? James Fields did more damage for the movement by a billionfold than he did good. It's just he obviously wasn't thinking right, or maybe there was something more to it. Maybe something else was controlling him, but I'm just not going to give him that out, because he might have just very well known what he was doing and went there and was unhappy and just decided this is his this was his custody day and his last stand. And Charlottesville was going to be his last stand, and he was just so sick of things, and he couldn't see the forest of the trees, ended up killing this young girl. And you know what? That could be the case. It's just the fact that, by doing that, you have done more damage. You have given them more fuel. In fact, I call that so far the worst day of the president's presidency, because it kind of began the ball rolling of like, wow, look at these Trump supporters. Which is why I'm very hypersensitive of how we are viewed in the truth community, especially within our own little corner of the truth community. I am very hypersensitive about how other YouTubers are making the movement as a whole look. And I look around, I do not like what I see. And I don't understand the amount of subscribers or viewership or loyalty to certain ones and the lack of it to others. And that's taken me out of it. Who are the accused? FBI in Baltimore, Maryland charged Brian Lemley, 33, and William Bilbrough, 19, with transporting and harboring aliens. They charged Mr. Lemley and Canadian Patrick Matthews with transporting a firearm and ammunition with intent to commit a felony. Okay, what was the intent? I want to know. Did they talk about it beforehand? Did they have some video or record it? I don't know. Let's see. The FBI alleges that Mr. Matthews entered the U.S. illegally. Now, mind you, this was the missing person that they made sound like a wanted person. So, apparently, what he was wanted for was entering the U.S. illegally. So, if it's on the southern border, those people, all those poor souls. If it happens someone leaving Canada coming into the U.S., they are like a wanted man, and they're gonna, make them innocent until proven guilty. I mean, guilty until proven innocent. Whereas if you're coming up through Mexico with a bunch of drugs, then you're innocent until... Notice how I didn't finish it? Yeah, they're just innocent in their eyes. That's just how it goes with the media. They do not... Obviously, they play things down on purpose. But I really do believe that they have a very naive view of the world, as do most of their subscribers and listeners and members of their party. They have a very naive view of the world. Show me a man who's well-cultured and has been around the world, and he's been in many different situations and many different class. He's been, around the the worst of the worst, and he's been around the best of the best. And I'll show you a guy who understands that the world is not, all, polka dots and rainbows. There's such a thing of, and at the same time, it's not, it's neither, or is it doom and gloom. It's somewhere in the middle. It's a lot of danger with a lot of hope. It's either one extreme or the other when it comes to the left. It can never just be in the middle. It's like, yeah, there's a lot of bad things in some of these countries. And there's they're going to bring the drugs, and we're going to do the drugs, and it's bad, and we need to stop that. But at the same time, there's a lot of hope, because there's a lot of good people as well. No, that you can't have that. That's just too, I don't know. I'm being sarcastic, of course, but to be honest with you, it just makes too much sense. It's common sense. We can't have that. We need to create your opinion, not let you figure it out on your own. Hopefully you could feel the sarcasm with that one. According to the criminal complaint filed with the state attorney general, the base's member. Oh, I'm sorry. Wait. The FBI alleges that Mr. Matthews entered the U.S. illegally at the Manitoba-Minnesota border. So they're all on that. All three, you know who also entered illegally? Ilhan Omar and her brother. Wait, what am I saying? Oh, I mean her father, the war criminal. I mean, what? I mean, she's funded by Qatar. I mean, what? Qatar, which means she's really funded by Iran in the end, and that's why she's speaking out and saying all the things she's saying. What did I just say? Okay, I'm sorry. Okay, let's back to the story. So, all three are accused of being members of a white supremacist group, very vague, known as the Base. Well, that's funny. I already know of a terrorist group called the Base. In fact, we'll be touching on that in a second, too. According to the criminal complaint, I thought that was the enemy. I didn't know that the Base, as I understand them, are white supremacists. I thought they were very much the opposite. According to the criminal complaint filed with the state attorneys general, and you guys will see what I mean in a minute, the Base's members discussed in encrypted online chat rooms recruitment, creating a white ethno-state that already exists. It's called Utah. I'm just kidding. All right. Or Idaho or something. Committing acts of, that was a joke. Anyone from Utah, Idaho, just a joke. Kind of true, but just a joke. Oh no, Oregon, right? Oregon? Washington? Alright. Committing, well, they got Seattle, so, committing acts of violence against minority communities, including African American and Jewish Americans. So they don't like the blacks, they don't like them Jews, they want a white ethno state. Alright, yep. So let's continue. The organization's military-style training camps, and I didn't mean to poke fun at the SALT, just joking around here, and ways to make improvised explosive devices. So they also want to make some IEDs. Wow, these guys have been busy. For people who can't even cross the Canadian border, they are very ambitious men. For men who can't figure out how to cross the Canadian border. Are you joking? Now, I know it's difficult from America into Canada, but from Canada into America? Really? You couldn't get through? Okay. Without getting caught? All right. Yet you have all these ambitions. All right. You know what? A man's ambition does not measure his level of guilt. So let's continue. Monday's rally was planned by the Virginia Citizens Defense League, a pro-gun rights group, and they did very well, by the way, to protest gun control legislation that is expected to pass in the new year. VCDL said it was expecting 50,000 people to attend the protests. Democrats won control of the Virginia state legislature last autumn for the first time since 1994, and have made gun control a key part of their platform, especially in light of last summer's shooting at Virginia Beach, which killed 12. Which actually, you know what? There is something with Virginia Beach. I did have somebody take a bullet for me in Virginia Beach, in particular, right on the Virginia Beach Hampton line. It was a bad area, and yeah, he took a bullet for me. They were supposed to shoot me, ended up shooting him instead. I've told that story a million times on here, but PJ, if you're out there, get in touch with me, brother. Because someone with his same age and from the same exact city and state is said to be dead. So I'm pretty sure that he ended up succumbing to those injuries, but later on. But if anyone can help me that knows anything, he was in the Navy. He would be 36 years old right now. PJ. I'm not going to say his last name, but it was the same last name as a president. I'll say that much. And that's all I can say. So if the Q team really is watching, please help me find that man. And if he is in fact gone, just can I get a confirmation? Again, in the description, you can find any way you want to donate. But as far as for that purpose, you can also find my emails. This would fall under, you can find regular email. This is the Yahoo one. This would fall under sensitive. So I would use proton.mail for that one. The Red Pill News at proton.mail. Thank you. Okay. Democrats won control of the Virginia state legislature last autumn for the first time since 1994. Because had they had control, right now they would be killing newborn babies. And that's not a joke. I mean, you guys heard it yourselves. So there's no tricks or smoke and mirrors there. That is legit what they were doing. And it did pass in New York. Democrats, like I said, and have made gun control a key part of their platform, especially in light of last summer's shooting at Virginia. Oh, I already read that part. Sorry. Mr. Northam, this is that, infamous governor, who was also a Democrat and has been governor since 2017, tried to get gun control measures passed to no avail this summer before the election. On the run, Mr. Matthews was a combat engineer in the Canadian Army Reserve, but he was fired in late August after an undercover or non-undercover. By the way, beware of spelling mistakes, especially from huge organizations like the BBC and Washington Post and things like that. Nundercover. I mean, maybe this might not be 100% legit. And look, that's a headline, because reporter for the Winnipeg Free Press connected him to the base. Remember this organization they're supposing? And alleged he was trying to recruit new members. We're real, I think it means effing, so I'll just say flipping. We're real flipping Nazis, and they can't do shite to us, but wait for us to put them against the wall, Mr. Matthews allegedly wrote in an online encrypted chat room. Well, if it's encrypted, I have a lot of questions, but I'll just take it for what it is. We're talking about all these encrypted platforms, yet it seems like you guys figured it out pretty easy and exactly who's who in an encrypted chat room, and that it wasn't intercepted, because I know that right now, as somebody who did not only cryptology, but cryptology in collection, that, I don't know, somebody could intercept the message, change it to what they want it to say, and then let it continue to go into the cybersphere. But we'll just take it at face value for now, because the MSM don't lie, especially the BBC with all their gag orders. They don't lie. Come on. All right, here we go. Police raided Mr. Matthews' home shortly after the report. They either have 1T or 2T. They keep on switching it from 1T and then 2Ts and then 1T and then 2Ts. Get it straight. Why is every headline is misspelled? So, nundercover instead of undercover. And the next one, police raided Mr. Matthews with 2 T's like it's his first name instead of his last name. When it's only 1 T in the name. Get your stuff straight. You guys are not the, some small... Shortly after a report, and seized a number of firearms. He subsequently disappeared, and RCMP were still looking for him on the 2nd of September, when they found his car abandoned about 5 miles away from the Minnesota border. So he ended up disappearing after doing all this stuff and recruiting And they were still looking for him on the 2nd of September when they found his car 5 miles from the border. How convenient. And then also, let's not forget that, I mean, this is like crazy. They keep on misspelling. And the reason I bring up the misspellings is, one way that they actually hid Comey from actually being held responsible for things. Instead of spelling his name in all these documents, capital Comey, you know how they spelled it? Capital Corney. Now you think, well, that spells corny, and that would be easy to spot out. And people, well, guess what? I read that whole report. I didn't catch it once. When you put a lowercase r and a lowercase n next to each other and a certain font, it looks exactly like an M. Same thing they did with Obama. One of the M's they changed into a lowercase r and lowercase n. You don't believe me? You know what? Let's do it right now. Let's put that test to the theory. So that's the end of that story. Good. I'm gonna put that to the test right now, and then we'll get to this. You know what? Well, I'll remind before I end this. I wanna keep it going. So now, not only that, but then the FBI arrests 3 more members of the base. Right, the base. Okay. So FBI arrests 3 more members of right-wing extremist group the base. 3 more. So they're really trying to get people worried about this Virginia thing. No wonder was having a heart attack like the world's going to end on Monday. Sunday night about Monday. When it ended up being a very peaceful one arrest, probably for something wicked stupid like not knowing that you could never stick or a little tiny knife on you. Probably something like that. And only one guy to get arrested, that tells you lots. 3 more alleged members of a U.S. Do you see how it's like the same exact thing. Of a U.S. neo-Nazi hate group have been arrested in Georgia this time. Authorities say in what appears to be a national operation. Well, I'm surprised they didn't say international operations with the Canadian that, can't cross the border unscathed. All of a sudden, they're worried about illegal immigrants. The arrest came on the same day that 3 suspected members of the same group, even though it's this national international group, but the same, little group, were detained in Maryland and Delaware. What are they trying to do? They're from Georgia. They're up in Maryland, Delaware, which means what? They're there for Virginia. That's what they're trying to put forth. And maybe it's the truth. It's just they've lied so much, and there's enough holes in this story and things that make me question that I'm going to keep mocking it until I need to see more proof. When you lie to me as much as these people have, I need to see more than what you're putting out. Because what you're putting out is very suspect. You're suspect. All 6 men are reported members of white supremacist group, The Base. Again, remember the name of their group. The Base. We will be revisiting that, and that'll be a big part of the end of this. One of the 3 was a Canadian Army reservist who had been missing for several months after fleeing Canada. Why don't they say that about when it's the other way around from Mexico and somebody kills somebody up here and then everyone's, oh, poor them, these poor people. Oh, you're separating all these families and, and children from their families. And I don't like that, which is why I was like, what? Why would Trump do that? Oh, that's Obama's. He's just following precedents because Obama made those rules. Okay. Why don't you just report it that way? The truth. Try that for once. Patrick Matthews is believed to have illegally crossed into the U.S. All of a sudden, it's like, whoa, this guy, he's a bad mofo. You illegally crossed right into Minnesota. I'm doing a lot of bad accents today. Please excuse them. I do my best. His alleged affiliations with The Base were discovered. He was arrested alongside two others in the Maryland and Delaware operation. Oh, he has cronies, eh? The FBI said Mr. Matthews, and they're really focusing in on this border crossing knuckle dragging Mr. Matthews with two T's, although there's only one T, so we can kind of make you confused if you ever try to really search him and get his real info. And two others plan to travel to a pro-gun rally on Monday in Richmond, Virginia. Again, our favorite governor, Mr. Keep 'em Comfortable, speaking of newborn, perfectly healthy babies. But, oh no, wait. No, they're not perfectly healthy, Red Pill. What are you talking about, Red Pill? They're not perfectly healthy. Some of them have some discrepancies, or they're not they're not like they have problems. Well, do you know what kind of problems fell under that? Basically, just the mother having mental health problems or drug addiction. That would make that perfectly healthy baby considered not 100% like viable. All right? So it's a very vague term that you have to be very careful of. When they tested my daughter's hearing, her hearing didn't work in one ear. And then they did it 6 hours later, and it worked perfect. She had perfect hearing in both ears. Sometimes it just takes time for certain things and it just shows that put it this way, you can find any baby to be not viable, but that's the wrong word. Like not 100%. Like something might be wrong with it. You could literally make anything. There's so many things, and it's things where the baby's perfectly healthy, but there's these little loopholes. It's like, yeah, it's very healthy, but, and in the long run, it would really mean nothing, or it's just a false negative, a false positive, or something more so to do with the mother than the actual baby's health. And, just the mother being in a position where she can't care for the baby is considered something that makes the baby not 100%. I mean, and they try to say we make the baby comfortable and we let the mother make a decision. We always make sure she talks to a second doctor who's also on board, because they know how much money they're going to make from this ball of flesh, as they wanted it described in law precedents. Because before that, this is considered a person, like it should be. It's born. I mean, I have issue with late term abortion. I do have issue with that. Now, abortion in the first trimester, as a Christian, I don't feel great about it, but I don't think that, we should be legislating law where you start getting into some tough areas where, what if there's a rape? What if these things do happen? It's sad. 13-year-old pregnant. The father is like 30 and, runs for the hills. There's certain situations, and I think, first trimester, but by a certain month, week, I mean, there has to be a line, a sensible line. Now, some people might not like it that I say that, but there are certain situations where they say, well, why don't you just make a law and say it's illegal except for in this situation or this situation? Well, everyone's going to lie and just say, oh, I was raped or this happened, and then get it anyway. That's why. So, anyways, my point is, a lot of deception. Be careful. The FBI said Mr. Matthews and two others plan to travel to a pro-gun rally on Monday in Richmond, Virginia. Virginia Governor, our favorite, Ralph Northam, declared a state of emergency because he wasn't trying to provoke anybody or, cause any trouble. He's trying to save lives on Wednesday ahead of the rally to block attendees from carrying weapons near the grounds of the Capitol building, citing credible threats of violence, except it was totally peaceful. According to an arrest warrant from the Floyd County Police Department, the three Georgia men were arrested after an undercover FBI sting operation and charged with attempted murder and participating in a criminal organization. Wow. According to arrest affidavits, the base, again, don't forget that name, is a racially motivated violent extremist group that sought to accelerate the downfall of the United States government, incite a race war, and establish a white ethno-state. Wow, they're ambitious. They should have just learned how to cross from Canada to the U.S. first, but, I mean, that other stuff, pretty ambitious. Luke Austin Lane, Michael Helterbrand, and Jacob Kederle were planning to overthrow the government and murder Bartow County couple, who they believed to be Antifa members. So they were plotting to murder Antifa married couple, it sounds like. Supposedly, allegedly. Floyd County Police said in a statement. An unnamed member of the base, oh, they love saying that. Well, I'm about to crap in their little, fiasco of saying the base when you guys find out what that really means, who crossed into the U.S. illegally, met with two members of those arrested in Georgia in October 2019 to discuss revenge attacks against his enemies. Wait, where did I... Sorry, According to charging documents, the gang member, presumed to be Mr. Matthews, is said to have called for the death penalty against anyone engaged in anti-fascist activities. So the death penalty? Okay. This story is getting crazier by the second. All right. It was not known if the three men arrested in Georgia were planning to attend the gun rights rally in Richmond. So they're talking all this crap, and they know so much about their intentions and exactly what they're going to do and exactly where they came from and exactly what their plans are, yet they had no idea if they would even be at the rally on Monday. You see how they add the truth? They hide the truth at the end? It was not known, last paragraph of this whole story, it was not known if the three men arrested in Georgia were planning to attend the gun rights rally in Richmond. The group was involved in the gang's paramilitary training camp located at home, Silver Creek, Georgia, police said. So basically, this is more so about those same three. Not these three, but the same three. And by the way, what's pretty crazy is, according to this, these men's names from left to right. Forget about the middle guy. Look at the guy on the left and the guy on the right. Jacob Kederle. Jacob Kederle, okay? And then Luke Austin Lane. And you know how they always have, like, the three names, it's kind of like, it's very subtle, but trust me, this type of psychology works. Harvey Oswald, what was his, something Harvey Oswald, or who's the other one? Every single person who's ever shot a president has three names, Anyone who's infamous in that way is like a three-name, I guess everyone but Ted Kaczynski, but that's kind of different with the Unabomber, that really happened because of Harvard and their LSD studies. They fried his brain. Same deal with Manson to a point, but more especially with Kaczynski. But it's crazy when you actually read. I was reading Kaczynski's manifesto recently, just because someone I had seen it on. Actually, I saw it on the Joe Rogan show, and they were like, "You guys need to read that." I read it. He was right on as far as like the dangers of technology on humans. People were laughing at him back then. Now they're looking back and they're like, wow, this guy was right on. All right, anyways, just remember those two names. All right. I had sentient world simulation. Alright, so then we have all that. Check this out. Here is a drone flyover of the home in Silver Creek, Georgia, below Rome, Georgia, where members of the base, again, don't forget that name, the base, have been training. A Dalton man is one of the 6 suspects arrested. Is one of the 6 suspects arrested this week on a variety of conspiracy charges. We've got more on the story at... Anyways, let's check out the flyover. So here is where they claim that this is where they held their terrorist training grounds, supposedly. But it looks like the local news put a drone over this, what do they say, national to international terrorist group called The Base. And you'll see why in a sec. So all I see is like a little cabin. Maybe a little firewood. Maybe some firewood there. That might actually be a stable. And a house with 2 cars. Maybe 2 cars and 1 tractor, actually. That's all I'm seeing. Weird. I thought this was like it. Wait. So this is where this is all happening? This is where these guys are training? This is where the third 3 people were were at, and where the first 3 people were training? This is the big draw from Canada? I'm not laughing at anything like, you know. Well, I guess that's it. Well, that's weird. I thought it was going to be way worse than that. But sometimes, like, you know, sometimes the truth is stranger than fiction. Sometimes the truth is nothing as imaginative as the people who cook it up. Except it's not truth. It's BS. So let's check this out. Julie Smith. 1. Law enforcement in Georgia said 3 men were arrested, charged of conspiracy to commit murder and participating in a criminal street gang. 2 officials said they have ties to the base. Luke Lane, 21, of Silver Creek, Georgia. Michael Helterbrand, 25, of Dalton, Georgia. And Jacob Kaderli, 19, of Dacula, Georgia. So is that them? Is that I mean, he looks like a mix of every white national group in the history of white supremacy. I mean, this is like ridiculous what I see this guy wearing. He looks like like literally like you could combine every single one. And that's it? Here's the other names. So here's the 3 prior and then the 3 post. So we'll see what that all means, because that's there for a reason. I sent that to myself for a reason. hometown headlines. Let's check this out. First of two updates. 3 men held on charges of attempting to kill Bartow couple. If you guys were around with Q way back, he used to always talk about, what's his name? Perry, Barlow Perry, Luke, I gotta look back. Barley, it was something like this, like Barlow Perry. He used to be with the Grateful Dead. You guys know what I'm talking about? He has like 3 names. It's like 3 names. I'll figure it out. All right. Anyways, overthrow the government. Wall Street Journal article links Georgia men to other arrested in 3 other states. And here's the youngest of them all, Jacob Oliver Caderly. He's out of Atlanta, conspiracy to commit felony, unlawful person employed or associated with criminal street gang to conduct, participate in criminal activity through commission of offense, felony. Now, is there like a certain tattoo they have to get? Like, what do they have to get? Like a, like a, not to be insensitive, but like a burning cross on like their right butt cheek. Like, is that how exactly? What are the identifying factors other than lies in the media that make these guys exactly what they're describing them to be? Because that's a serious charge. That second charge is very bad. Conspiracy to commit felony, that's extremely broad and not really the best charge to if you're trying to take someone down. But that second charge, working with a known terrorist group and being a member of it, that's a serious one where this kid could, at a very young age, not experience his life. So let's look deeper into this because we're talking lives on the line. Now, if this is all true, then they deserve it. If they planned on hurting people, then they deserve it. All right, the latest media release. A Floyd County man and 2 others in Georgia are currently in jail for charges that allege they were involved in a white supremacist group with plans to overthrow the government and murder a Bartow County couple. Now, I've given you guys different examples. Like, imagine I did this and then see how they could use this. I've given you guys examples. But I have it on my mind. Who knows? I'm just trying to give you guys examples. It doesn't mean that I'm like, this is 100% bullshit and I'm not going to believe it no matter what. If I can see evidence that shows me that this is all legit with the news reporting, then you know what? If they were trying to take lives, I definitely want them to be dealt with. I feel bad for the 19-year-old because who really knows who they are when they're 19? I was in the military and like I had some structure. I was lucky to have that. If I didn't go in the military, I would have ended up just like my friends, dead or in jail. Anyways, Luke Austin Lane, again, another one of those, like 3 names in one, was arrested near his home on Wednesday without incident and is being housed at the Floyd County Jail pending charges of conspiracy to commit murder, it's a big one, and participation in the criminal gang known as the Base. 2 very serious charges because apparently the Base is so bad, and I guess it's a criminal gang. They're not saying it's a terrorist organization. So, I don't know. It's kind of, I don't know how much. I need to know more about this. And I'm kind of saying that tongue in cheek because I know more about this. And I'm going to be showing it all to you. Lane was denied bond Thursday. 2 others from Georgia included Michael Helterbrand, which is this man below. By the way, Caderly, he was someone else. The Atlanta office, the federal. So we already kind of went over this, actually. It's just a different article, but we already read this. Shows Caderly in custody. So this is what the young kid shot. Conspiracy committed felony. which, that's not the worst. Unlawful for a person employed by associated with criminal streets. That's where they start, It's really kind of like a lame charge unless it's 100% true. Both counts are felonies and no bond has been set. So not only that, but I know what it feels like to, kind of be screwed. They no bond, guilty to proven innocent. Obviously, this kid's never been in jail, 19 years old. You can just tell. And, he's going to experience jail for the first time without deciding if he's actually guilty or innocent. Especially when they have technology like ankle bracelets and things where, if he tries to escape, yeah, then you do it. But, it's not like he's going to get away. He's going to cut it off and get away with the technology we have today. Come on. N-Rock up there. You guys know what I mean. Corn backwards. Yeah. All your bases to us belong now. What ties, if any, this has to a crisis situation brewing in Richmond? See how they have to keep making it about that? Apparently are in those documents. I'd like to see those documents. Times editors updated their story Thursday night, but it lacks any direct reference to the Northwest Georgia assets. So far no proof at all. That's the bottom line that I get from that. Because it keeps on, they talk a lot of big games. When it comes down to actual proof and actual evidence, there's nada. So, let's continue. And what do we got here? Oh, Washington Post. FBI arrests 3 ahead of the rally. So, here's that. Hunting black men start a race war. Transporting an alien, harboring an alien. They're talking about the guy who went missing and came from Canada. I mean, do you think they would do that to these sanctuary cities where we're not talking one person, we're talking like 10,000 people going to a city? All legal. They're not charged with harboring and all that. It's just a little too much for me, the hypocrisy. Now, to remind you of hypocrisy and the type of stuff that we do need to keep an eye out for, the type of stuff that has been proven time and time again to be a problem for us is the real terrorist groups, not things like the base, but this one talks about Taliban. But first, I want to talk about, before we get to that, I want to talk about Al Qaeda. Now, does anyone know what Al Qaeda means? Al Qaeda meaning. Oh, here we go. We can find out. Al Qaeda. Translation. Hold on. What does it mean? Al Qaeda. That's how you spell it. So, Al Qaeda. Okay. Arabic. I don't know how to read that. I want a translation. Oh, yeah. Translation. The what? Hold on. The base. What? Yeah, I know. Obviously, I'm trying to play surprised, but I'm not surprised. And this is exactly what I knew about this situation. I said, the base? Al Qaeda is the base. And then first of all, there is Murphy's Law. Her and I actually broke this open together. That one particular connection she made. I made others. She made that one. And that's a huge one. That Al Qaeda, yes, the ones that we blame for 9/11. Well, that's a different language. So it's like we call them Al Qaeda, but that's like, let's say a terrorist group. Let's call Antifa. Well, a different country might call them, Kwang Kwang Kwang. Like we don't know what they're saying. But in this situation, Al Qaeda, really, every time that we say these evil people in Al Qaeda or Osama bin Laden, the leader of Al Qaeda. What we're really saying is these evil people in the base, or the the terrorist attack followed out with the leader Osama bin Laden of the base. Do you guys see what's going on here? Do you guys see how they use these certain ways? Now, some will sit there and in denial and try to say, well, you know what? That's why they needed the base, because it's kind of like a smart way, even though they can't figure out how to get into the United States from Canada, which I can't get over. But, you know, like, let's go through right into Minnesota, you know, somehow, you know, like, Ilhan Omar is the representative over there because of how many people were snuck in through that way. But, you know, this white guy can't get by. You know, this privileged white guy who doesn't stick out at all. He can't get by. And he's wanted, not for committing a crime, but for crossing the border. Because he crossed the wrong border. He should have just came out through Mexico. He'd probably be all set. Anyways, so... yeah. So when you look at that and you see, and now don't forget, Al Qaeda just wasn't what? It just isn't Al Qaeda. I'm sorry, I'm going to stop calling them Al Qaeda. The base, all right? The Islamic version of the base. You know what else they created? Look at this. Look at this. The groups. First of all, they should put CIA in there, because let's be real. Osama bin Laden. Look at the flights after 9/11. All right, the day before, there was 2.3 trillion missing. Okay, the day after, or even 23 trillion missing. It was like 20 somewhere from 2.3 to 20 trillion dollars missing. And Rumsfeld said, "I don't know where it is." And the records, all the records, were in the pot of the Pentagon at the exact corner and floor of the Pentagon that was hit those records, where the records were, disintegrated them. And there's no video at all available to the public that shows a plane hitting the Pentagon. Oh, Matt, so what? You think all 9/11 was fake? I don't know. I don't know. I know it's the reason I joined the military. So I like to think that it's not fake and that, yes, this really did happen. But maybe they see a situation to, you know, get away with that money going missing. Did the passengers really bring down the plane? Or was it shot down? I'll tell you, I'm almost positive it was shot down. As far as the one with the Pentagon, I think they took an advantage of a situation that was going on in New York, and the rest of it, you know, these guys, and we also know that they have the technology now for sure. I mean, we've been doing it all the time to the Russian and Iranian jets, making them fall out of the sky at will. Over open area where the pilots can eject. And we're not talking commercial jets, we're talking military jets. But even back in 2001, we 100% had the, forget about military, even which is especially our own civilian aircraft, the 737s, which are also falling out of the sky because of, in my opinion, China, but it could be a different country, it causing them to having to remake them. Which brings me to Iran. Although that was a totally different kind, because that was the Max series, so there's really no excuse there. I think Iran really did shoot that thing down by accident. But did we probably make it confusing for them on purpose? Yes. Did we have it make it look like potentially a C-130 instead of, you know, like, who knows what kind of, you know, well, I do know what kind of tricks. And, well, yeah, we could definitely make them think it's one thing when it's a different thing. And have them shoot their own people out of the sky. A lot of people are talking about how many Canadians were on that flight. What they don't realize is that really, yeah, there's a lot of Canadians, but they're dual citizens. A lot of dual citizens, which means, one, they're powerful, and two, they're all Persian, meaning Iranian, you know. That's one of their citizenships. And the other, that's how you got, it's like, why so many Canadians? Well, there's a huge Iranian Persian population in Toronto and Edmonton. So that's what that was. Okay. That's why the numbers are so low for places like Ukraine where it was heading, because it was really just a layover flight with probably maybe 11 people getting off that, if that, getting off there, if that. And by the way, we know that they have that ability now. They've had the ability for a long time. I'm talking like even in the 90s, where they can make a plane fall out of the sky. So, or they can control a plane from a different location. So you're trying to tell me they might not have controlled those New York planes from a different location and just made that happen? And maybe that was a real situation though, but then they controlled other planes and made it look like something else. And by the way, most of those guys were Saudi born, yet we end up going after Iraq. It makes no sense. The majority of them were born in Saudi Arabia, who are our number one allies besides Israel, along with Israel, I should say, in the region. And let's not forget that also one of them was even Moroccan, another one of ours. So it's like we got attacked, and it's like some 6'2" guy named Jim beats the shit out of you to the point where you almost die, and then you nurse yourself back to health. And as soon as you're ready, you go out and you beat up a 5'4" female named, Sadiqa, and that's it. All right, and then after that, you know what? Sadiqa's friends want to be. We're gonna take them on too. The base, Al Qaeda. The base, Al Qaeda. The base. One and the same. Al Qaeda is the base. Base is Al Qaeda. You get it? You get what's going on? They're like playing with us. But when they perform these types of and we're talking biblical type stuff, which means that when we're talking evil, we're not just talking people with ill intentions or willing to do anything to win. We're talking Satan. And you know what he can do and can't do? He can't create, but he can manipulate. And he is using, but at the same time, because the way free will works, they almost have to let you know what they're doing, and almost like give you the ability to, if you have the discernment, to figure it out. It's like a law that it has to be fulfilled, or their black magic doesn't work. Well, that's exactly what's going on, in my opinion. I know it's a little bit out there, but what are the chances Al Qaeda is the base? And now this group that's so deadly, even though nothing deadly went on at all, and it's all hearsay, is called the base. And then let's look at groups that Al Qaeda, aka the base, tied to. The Islamic State of Iraq, the Islamic State of Syria. So ISIS, ISIL. Also, they were just in the news. What did Q say? Iran next. RT, like retweet. Days later, RT, Kenya. Sure enough, a very suspicious how successful this attack was on some of our best, some of our better aircraft. Like we're talking military grade aircraft. They were able to take that out, only lose 6 men, and still kill also troops on the ground. A bunch of people in the embassy, including troops. They had that successful an attack in Kenya, right the day after we killed and that was one of the places that was on high alert, and they were still able to be that successful right after we killed the Iranian general, when we knew that there was a list of countries that those embassies were high risk. Iraq, Sudan, Kenya, even probably like Egypt, Jordan. Anywhere, and they're gonna nail us in Kenya, where Al-Shabaab is, and we can see, we know that they're there. Again, so Al-Shabaab. Let me just, let me zoom in on these so you guys aren't missing them. Almost too zoomed in. Al-Shabaab. 2010 to present. al-Nusra, Al-Qaeda Kurdish battalions. So Osama bin Laden, and then Zawahiri, he's still alive. So now their leader, and we've already taken out the Iran general. We took out the ISIS caliphate leader, which is very important. By the way, that one's very important. And by the way, where did everybody hear that first? No matter where, before the MSM, before anywhere on Twitter, before anywhere on YouTube, before anywhere on the internet. Yes, Red Pill News Dispensary. Red Pill Dispensary. We were the first ones to report the killing of him because of our great, great sources. All right? We are trusted by certain sources because we tell the truth. And they know what the truth is, and they have certain information, and I'm time tested. I don't give any indicators about who they are, and nobody will ever know who my sources are. But they're patriots. That's what you will know about them. And look at this. So as far as how they're spread out, there's 5,000 in Libya. And the Afghan region, we're talking less than 100. Even though only so many years ago there was, it's a pretty big range, 300 to 3,000. That's quite a range. In Maghreb, they have 800 to 1,000 plus. 100 plus in West Africa. That's not just one country. 100 plus. So that's including Al-Shabaab, all that. So there's not even that many of them. That's why I don't understand how they pulled off such a successful attack. In the Arabian Peninsula, 6,000 to 8,000. What did I say? Saudi Arabia, number one ally. But if we're really talking about where is the enemy, yeah. Well, it looks like Somalia is a bit. Russia, 100. Mali, 800 to 5,400. That's huge. But here's a big one. Somalia, 7,000 to 9,000. In Syria, here's a huge one. 7,000 to 11,000. In the Sinai Peninsula, 1,000. In Nigeria, 2,000 to 3,000. In total is 31,400 plus to 57,600 plus. So their state allies are Saudi Arabia. And by the way, it goes all four of these countries are alleged and they deny it. Qatar, although I can tell you straight up that Qatar was the one that was funding, the Minnesota representative. And I'm not just saying this is real. We did a whole show on it. If you guys want to go and watch that show on Ilhan Omar, it's probably about like a month and a half to 2 months ago. You'll see her picture in the thumbnail. Great video, by the way. She was funded by Qatar, who is proxy funded by Iran. So, make the connection there. Also Pakistan, Saudi Arabia. But, those two are more so our allies. Iran and Qatar, not so much. And then it goes on to say non-state allies. Well, number one on here, Taliban. Why didn't they put the not Georgia the country, Georgia the state, their infamous gang, the base? See, the problem is they have to tell you. State opponents, NATO, United States, United Kingdom, France, Russia, Soviet Union, China, non-state opponents, ISIL, Hezbollah, Hamas, Houthis, Southern Movement. Anyways, so there's that. There's the flag used by a bunch of them, although there is different types depending on what country you're in or what denomination. But the thing that I really want you to take from this, translation, the base. All right? That's what I really want you to take from this. How crazy is that? And, oh yeah, don't forget, well, Antifa. This is from the 1933 paramilitary wing of the Communist Party of Germany. Looks pretty familiar. Maybe it's a coincidence. We know what Q and I say about coincidences. So, anyways, on to the one last thing here. But trust me, we saved some of the best stuff for last. So, one important thing about this video is I need to tell people watch till the end, because it gets crazier and crazier and crazier as you go. This is the Taliban 5. Now, you guys probably remember about 3 to 4 months ago, we were talking about Bergdahl. Bo Bergdahl. He's sergeant at the time. I believe he was private first class, Bo Bergdahl. And he deserted. He abandoned his post and was captured by the enemy, the Taliban. And basically, as a deserter, I understand, to get every man back, and then we'll court-martial him and punish him and all that. But we ended up giving up everything the Taliban wanted. Why? Because not only did we have weak people in the position of commander-in-chief, especially when it came to war and war tactics and military decisions, but we also had a corrupt man who liked to kill with kill lists that were only known by computers, like in Pakistan. We're talking thousands of people killed by a kill list that nobody knew who was on the kill list except for the drone, supposedly. But yeah, that's what's said about it. I think that there's one person who actually knows is on that kill list, but that's as reported. Taliban 5 from Wikipedia. The Taliban 5 were long-term Afghan detainees at Guantanamo Bay and formerly high-ranking members of the Taliban government of Afghanistan who, after being held indefinitely without charges, were exchanged for United States Army Sergeant Bo Bergdahl. For several years, there were rumors that the Obama presidency's negotiations with the Taliban hinged over the release of these men. You know why? They were very powerful men. And you'll see how powerful. The Taliban wanted the men to be sent to Qatar. The United States was reported to be considering freeing them so they can get their deserter, Bergdahl, back. And guys, I don't want to sound like no man left behind. I get it. But are you really left behind when you desert to the enemy? I mean, the amount of deaths caused by this Taliban 5, I hope that there's some figures in here, but it's astronomical. And the amount of deaths after this exchange are astronomical as well. So you tell me if a deserter is worth it. But I do get no man left behind. Does that include people who desert you for the enemy? I don't know. That's why I'm asking. All right. So the Taliban 5, ultimately, the Taliban 5 wanted were released to custody in Doha. Okay, I'm sorry. The United States was reported to be considering freeing them if the Taliban would release Bo Bergdahl, a soldier the Taliban had been holding since 2009. The Taliban 5 were released to custody in Doha, Qatar on June 1st, 2014, which is right around the time when Ilhan Omar received her funding to all of a sudden come to the United States with her brother, who was really her husband at the same time, and denounce her husband, but he was cool with it because the guy that she ended up supposedly marrying instead was really a gay guy from the UK who literally, when you look at his picture, it's one of those pictures that screams, I'm gay. And that's not being a homophobe. It's just some things are true and some things aren't. You guys go look at it yourself. Check out the video I made. Check out the information for yourself and tell me I'm not telling you the truth. I'm not making fun of gay people. It's just, let's be honest, certain gay guys, just even the picture, they don't even have to talk. You just see the picture. It's like, yeah, he's gay. Like, good looking guy, but I don't think I had to explain this to you. This is, some things in life are just obvious. All right. If we're gonna just make these crazy assumptions in the news, I think it's okay for a little old red pill to make a obvious observation. Okay. The United States reported to be considering free. Okay, I already got that. The Taliban 5 were released to custody in Doha, Qatar on June 1st, 2014. The Taliban 5 have been described as the hardest of the hardcore by, of all people, No Name McCain and James Franklin Jeffrey. Well, No Name would know since he is, and he's not self-named. No, this is what they call him. The Godfather of ISIS. That's what ISIS calls No Name. The Godfather. All right? Whereas patriots call him No Name. Thou which thou shalt not be named. All 5 are deemed high risk to the United States and were recommended for continued detention. This reverses a position that No Name held only 4 months earlier. No Name McCain said his stance has changed only because the previous proposal, maybe his stance changed because he's knee deep in this. Taliban leaders as a confidence building measure. The current proposal would be an actual exchange of prisoners. I would be inclined to support such a thing, depending on a lot of details, he said. What a vague answer and what a wrong answer. For a deserter, you're going to trade our top 5 Taliban guys who have gone on to kill many more people, and we're still there. If we never made this trade, I'm telling you, it would have been a lot more effective, but there's already so many things stacked against us. We have 100% of the, 99% of the 99.9% of the population in our control, and basically all the provinces, except there's some real rural area up in like the northeast kind of, and very, very difficult terrain to fight in. Yet they've proven to be willing to fight in these small villages. And we're going to these small villages acting like we're going to build schools and all this. And they're just like, they're so far past that. They have been fighting a non-stop war with the Russians in the 60s. It is like generation after generation after generation of nothing but fighting. Especially in those very rural areas in those provinces way up there, but that's those sections of those provinces, like up around like outpost Keating. You know what I mean? Like it's never gonna end there. It's just, and you know what? And if it was gonna end, the only way was by not giving them their 5 most powerful back. This reverses The Wall Street Journal described the identity of the 5 men as an open secret, since members of the Congress have been briefed on the negotiations. The Taliban 5 were involved in peace talks to end the conflict in Afghanistan with the U.S. in March 2019. Contents: members of the Taliban 5 prisoner exchange, internal debate over Taliban 5 prisoner release, references. Members of the Taliban 5 are listed as very dangerous men. All right, so also I was thinking, right? All right, here we go. I was able to do it. Members of the Taliban 5. The Taliban 5 are listed as very dangerous men. All right, if you guys want to see the picture, so here's this guy. This is his official Guantanamo picture. And that is Abdul Haq Wasik, and he was deputy chief of the Taliban regime's intelligence service. Wasik had direct access to Taliban and Hezbollah Gulbuddin leaders and was central to the Taliban efforts to form alliances with other. So not only was he head of intelligence, but he used that intelligence to form with other Islamic fundamentalist groups, such as Al-Shabaab, the one that just attacked us in Kenya, and a very successful attack at that, almost suspiciously successful. And then it goes on to say, against U.S. and coalition forces after the 11th of September 2001 attacks. So that's that great guy. Let's see the next one. Oh, look at him, huh? And this is Nurullah Nuri, served as the governor of Balkh and Lagman provinces in the Taliban regime. He was a senior Taliban military commander in Mazar-e Sharif. Nouri is wanted by the UN for possible war crimes, including the murder of thousands of Shiite Muslims. So he's Sunni, most likely. Could be Kurdish, but we'll see. According to Barnett Rubin, they were responsible for ethno-sectarian massacres in northern Afghanistan, along with their enemies. The Times of Oman described him as the most controversial of the 5. Well, the Times of Oman, he's the most controversial? So, does that mean, like, controversial as in, like, the worst to, I don't know, like in an Americans, like the one that maybe shouldn't be a prisoner, or one that is the most controversial, period, to us, even. Here's the next guy. I mean, he looked like he's probably controversial because the Shiite background, the killing of the Shiites. Mohammed A. Fazl. I've heard of this guy. Yeah, I've actually heard of this guy, the last guy, the first one. Oh, actually, I've heard of all 3 of these guys. All 3 of their last names look familiar. So Mohammed Fazl served as. Oh wait, first. So this one. So the first one was. He was the governor of Balkh and Lagman provinces, and he was a senior Taliban military commander, and wanted by the UN for war crimes for killing Shiite Muslim. First guy was Taliban's intelligence service head, and this guy is the chief of staff of the Taliban army. His name Mohammed Fazl. He was associated with terrorist groups opposing U.S. and coalition forces. According to documents from the Joint Task Force, Guantanamo, Fazl is wanted by the UN for possible war crimes, including murder of thousands of Shiites as well. So, I'm kind of surprised. Maybe they were trying to, strengthen the Kurd or Sunni position, because the Shiites basically at this point today, and have been for a while, they have been the ones in power. Since we took out Saddam and that, turned that country into such Shiite control, the Sunnis became a lot weaker after that, despite him being Sunni. Well, probably because of him being Sunni, I should say. And here's the next guy. I definitely know this name. So, Kerula Kirikawa, or Kirkawa. And what's his deal? Was the interior minister under the Taliban and helped, same deal, basically. Let's see, likely involved. So he was he was directly associated with Osama bin Laden and Taliban Supreme Commander Mullah Muhammad Omar, who wasn't he the first? No. We haven't read him yet, but I think he's one of them. Likely involved with militant training. He was also a narcotics trafficker and probably used. And when we're talking narcotics, we're not talking cocaine, by the way. With all the poppy fields, we're talking Afghan heroin. What a coincidence! Right after we invade Afghanistan, all of a sudden heroin and opiate-related deaths go up like thousands percentage points. It's just ridiculous. It's something that pisses me off like really bad. I've lost a lot of friends to that crap. Became one of the. I mean, you just can't avoid it in Boston. It's a lot of the country's hard hit, but I argue Boston's the hottest hit of Massachusetts, the hottest hit of all states, followed by New Hampshire at 2, and like Ohio at 3, in my opinion. I know that Florida's gotten worse as of late, but I mean, people used to go to Florida to buy them because they were so cheap down there. It's just high supply. The demand was nothing like it was up in the Northeast. Yeah, and like I said, drug lords probably use profits from drugs to promote Taliban interests. All right. And then here's the last one. These are all such nice looking fellas, huh? According to U.S. intelligence officials, Mohammed Nabi Omari was the Taliban's chief of communications. He would have been my direct enemy in cryptologic communications. Nabi had operational ties to anti-coalition militia groups, including Al-Qaeda, or should I say, the base. I mean, how crazy is that, guys? All this talk about the base, all that means in a different language is Al-Qaeda. I mean, I think they really stepped in it with this one. They got everyone thinking of this thing called the base here in the U.S. That has the Muslim Brotherhood's fingerprints on it, in my opinion. And also, not just them, but like I said, some type of satanic agenda, because the only way that they would tell us something that someone could figure out so easy like that is because they are required to let us know when it comes to like biblical control and influencing free will in such a blatant way. I truly believe that they have to let you know. And 99.9% of people will believe it. But hopefully, with the findings of this channel, if you guys share this video, you guys like this video, share it on every platform, like it on every platform, get people to subscribe, get people talking, let them know. Watch till the end. Sometimes I wish I put all the best information at the beginning, but it's just not my style. If I'd like to build up. But I feel like not everyone gets the bombshells at the end that I'm trying to give you guys. Okay, so basically that's his deal. And then By the way, I did want to look at one quick thing. I said I would look at it, so I will. Oh yeah, Mullah Muhammad Omar. Let me look at this guy. Yeah, this guy. So he's Supreme Council. Omar had died in 2013. He died from tuberculosis. All right, I wanted to see how he died. I didn't know if maybe that would cause more. So Taliban 5 prisoner exchange. Here we go. Over the years, there were several premature reports of some or all of the men being transferred. On January 10, 2012, Iranian news sources asserted 3 of the 5 men had been transferred in return for Bergdahl. On July 29, 2013, Ynet News reported that the USA had already released the 5 men as a goodwill gesture without insisting. Wow. What weak leadership we had. On the Taliban, in turn releasing Bergdahl. On May 31st, 2014, following negotiations coordinated by the government of Qatar, who we can thank for Ilhan Omar directly, the 5 detainees were exchanged for Bergdahl, who is thought to be the last remaining American prisoner of war. Except he wasn't exactly captured as much as he deserted to them. Yet, as a vet, I understand, no man left behind. But by totally, you don't lose the war over it. You don't give them the 5 men they want most. There's a reason for that. And it ended up killing many, many more Americans. Yet, I understand, one life should mean all life, and all life for one life. But when that one life deserts, they kind of use that against us. They use the no man left behind thing against us with the deserter. The Taliban 5 were taken from Guantanamo Bay and flown by a C-17 Globemaster III to Qatar, where they were required to remain for a year as a condition of their release. Oh, they had to stay in Qatar for 1 year when they should have been the rest of eventually executed. They arrived in Qatar on June 1st, 2014. A portion of an edited video of Bergdahl's handover released by the Taliban on June 4th, 2014 shows the homecoming of the prisoners in an unknown location in Qatar, where a caravan of SUVs pulls over alongside a busy stretch of road with the former prisoners exiting and hugging their supporters. The video portion was mixed with joyful jihadi song. In late May 2015, the travel ban was extended while negotiations continue between Qatar and the United States. And that probably is the reason why it was exactly that was while a certain woman by the name of Ilhan Omar was campaigning. And that must be like her ultimate goal, is because she is directly working for Qatar with her brother, who was also her husband. Yeah. Okay, right alongside her, but they knew that wouldn't fly in America. They had her marry some British guy because the husband/brother was cool with it because the British guy's gay. He goes, listen, hey, if you married her to this man, okay, he can marry her because I know he's not going to touch her, you know? And by the way, they have 2 kids together. No, not the gay guy and her brother and her. 2 kids together. I mean, that's one thing I have to say. Thank God that both those kids came out okay. That's very dangerous, having children with your blood brother. I mean, not even like half brother. I'm pretty sure they're like full 100%. And even half brothers. It doesn't matter. That's your brother. Brother and sister should not be doing that. This isn't the day of the pharaohs. I mean, that was even frowned upon in ancient Rome, Why would it be okay in 2015, 2016? Minnesota, you got to fix that stuff, please. In 2020, it's your opportunity to fix it. Actually, 2022. But, you can at least, do the right thing. You have many times that you need to make up for that. According to Time, Pentagon officials in the intelligence community had successfully fought off releasing the Taliban 5 in the past, but President Barack Obama's move to release the prisoners was described as a victory for those at the White House and the State Department who had argued against the military. Well, I think we found out who was right. And it wasn't the state or White House. In January 2015, several commentators repeated assertions that U.S. officials who insisted on anonymity had said that one of the 5 men had tried to contact the Haqqani faction from Qatar. These commentators, citing this anonymous report, asserted that at least one of the 5 men was a recidivist. On February 2nd, 2014, the Oman Tribune quoted Khalid bin Mohammed Al Attiyah, Qatar's foreign minister, denials of these reports. Attiyah assured the public that Omani and U.S. officials were cooperating and monitoring, that the men were complying with the terms of the agreement that allowed them to travel to Qatar, and there had been no sign that any of the men had taken any steps that would violate that agreement. No, these aren't those kinds of men. Like I said, it's all about public perception. And you know what? You almost can't blame them for being mad at us because of the Obama years. Doing ridiculous stuff. We're putting all their lives, all our lives, everyone's lives, more pain and suffering than future generations' lives, all in danger for Baghdad. And like I said, no one understands No Man Left Behind more than me as a vet. But when a certain man deserts, yeah, we try to get him, but you do not give up the top 5. That's why we're still over there having so much trouble. So here he is, born 86. He's a United States Army former soldier, I'll say, by the Taliban-aligned Haqqani network in Afghanistan, Pakistan, after he deserted. All right? Not captured and prisoner of war, but deserted. Hailing out of Sun Valley, Idaho. Sounds like one of those, what do they call them? Like white sanctuaries. The type of place that the base was trying to create, where it's just all white people. Like I said, it already exists in Sun Valley, Idaho. And maybe, you know what? And not just in name, the base, they're probably happy about that place. So U.S. Army, he was U.S. Coast Guard before that. So, you know what? Army, it's not all on you. You know what? You take someone from a non-combat branch and put them in a combat branch, and I have the utmost respect for the Coast Guard. My buddy was a rescue swimmer, and I was amazed. He was a rescue swimmer for the Navy. But, I used to watch some things, some of the training he had to do. And he had Coast Guard there as well. He was in Pensacola. I was in Pensacola, but he was at the air station, whereas I was down the street at Corey Station. But, it's just, it's amazing with the Coast Guard. But I'm just saying, they're not built for, it's not a combat, whereas the Army is. And it seems like he shouldn't have been in the position where he's on the front lines and he can desert to the enemy and ultimately lose us the war. Not that it was so much a winnable war, because you're fighting against ideals, yet the ideals grow stronger the longer we're there. So it's almost like, catch-22 type of thing. So, with that, military awards, I'd love to see this. Combat Infantry Badge. and 10 overseas service bars for the 5 years he spent in the combat. Wow, he was there. Oh, I was going to say, he was there 5 years and then he deserted? Well, most of those 5 years were after he deserted, and they just held him against his will. You know, anyone can do that, to be honest with you. I mean, good on him for wanting to serve, but he really put us in a compromised position and single-handedly basically lost us the war. Now, this is the type of situations where you have men who are dishonorably discharged. Some people who are ignorant to military terms seem to think they understand discharges when they don't. This is the type of thing where you get a dishonorable discharge. Just to let you know there. Okay. Actually, for much less than that. I'm surprised that's all he got. I'm surprised he was a free man the whole time. Not just, you know, yeah, they had him in a somewhat jail, but they had to treat him good because they knew we had a weak president that would give them their 5 top commanders missing. The Taliban 5. You know? And anyways, that's that. That is Al-Qaeda, a.k.a. the base, while we have our own little the base over here of this very weird situation with these men. You gotta admit, this is like, you don't even know what to believe anymore. But anyways, what I'm going to be doing, because this was a amazing video with a bunch of information. And the last thing I am going to do, though, is I'm going to just make sure that there was no more, I need to make sure that there was no more Q posts, because I know Q is posting, and sometimes they come in a whole bunch. So let me just make sure. And then after that, I'll sign off. And what I'll do is I'll break this video into multiple videos to make certain sections of it more accessible. And again, anything you guys need is in the description. Whether you need to email me, how to email me. All right, good. I was right. So remember the delta? I said usually it has to do with time. Did they get... So is this... Oh, a 30-second delta. I was thinking... Well, I think it also has to do with the 21, 22. And then the other one was 23, 24. Whereas those are also the dates Tuesday to Friday. This one points out that Donald Trump's tweet was at 11:08:04. Read the transcripts. And then you have 11:07:34. Remember I even did that? I was like, well, what's that? I didn't get the 30 seconds. That's why. I was like, less than a minute later. Oh, okay. So it was exactly 30 seconds. They are not attempting to remove POTUS from office. 2/3 of the Senate will not vote to convict. No laws broken. They are attempting to protect themselves from prosecution and prevent the public from discovering the truth. Maybe like the base is such like a BS thing that it's actually what Al-Qaeda is. If you just take Al-Qaeda and put it in English, it's the base. But I don't know. I guess that they were unsuccessful in trying to get the people of Virginia and the surrounding states, or anyone who went to Virginia for the Second Amendment, to stand up for your rights, to get you guys to do something stupid. And I commend you guys most of all. So there we go. That's a 30-second delta. Now, by the way, if the president puts out a tweet and then 30 seconds later Q puts something out, that doesn't prove anything. Because, you know, I could be Q and just see the president put something out, wait 30 seconds, and then post something that I already have prepared. But it's when Q does it first and then the president, that's when you take notice. So 30-second delta. And that's what Q was looking for from the prior post where he says delta. And he even actually put to the real, 1409. See, there it is. And then he goes, thank you, Anon. Secure server reroutes create delays. F. And killbox. So secure server reroutes create delays. And then what's the F in the killbox? Well, I've always said that I believe that the way that they run the whole thing with the 30-second delta or 1-minute delta from the president's tweet to QAnon is with a kill switch, not a kill switch, a relay switch. But I don't see relay switch being represented by F, but that could also be 6. F. What about the F? Wasn't there a misspelling? Did it involve an F? I'll give this some thought. But anyways, I just wanted to make sure that you guys got all that information. And I also just want to make sure that you guys enjoyed the show. And I want you guys to know that, you know, any thoughts on the show, whether it be good, bad, indifferent, whatever it is, if you're new, subscribe if you want. But what I will say is, you know, leave a comment. And also that I hope that you guys got out of this show. And with that, I would just like to say that this is the Red Pill Dispensary, aka the Red Pill News Dispensary. And I want to thank you guys. This is a long show. We're going on 5 hours. So I'm going to break this down into more consumable chunks. I would say about probably about 6 videos, 45 minutes each. And I'll break it down into more consumable, bits of information. Because the whole thing, that's a long one. But I hope you guys enjoyed. If you enjoyed it a lot, please donate. There's a bunch of ways to donate right under here in the description. Please like and share, because we know YouTube's not going to do it for me. And thank you for stopping by the Red Pill Dispensary. Red Pill Dispensary. And I will see you guys tonight with a call-in show, along with much more. All right, guys. Stay frosty out there. All right? Stay frosty and spread this information. You guys have more than you realize.